Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how to read English original books happily. Not just properly, but happily. And by the way, I didn't study English literature in college, so these are only my personal tips. This video is especially for ESL speakers, those of us who speak English as a second language. If you are a native speaker, feel free to skip it, or maybe you can stick around to see what we go through. For me, the ultimate goal of reading English books is very simple: to enjoy it. Although I get access to information faster than just waiting for the Chinese translation and stuff, but I don't read it to learn it, I read it to enjoy it. In general, books fall into two categories: fiction and non-fiction. Personally, I found fiction harder to digest. It takes me longer than reading non-fiction. This is just how I feel. So today, let's just focus on fictional novels. Fiction can be tricky. A story can happen anywhere in any time period. And there are so many new words, vocabularies, unusual character names, and strange place names. I'll say the first 10 to 20 pages are my early stage of figuring out the author's, writing styles, narrative techniques, and rhetorical devices. I still remember when I read Quo Vadis, and it's a romance story set in Roman Empire under the Emperor Nero. I even made a whole relationship map just to keep track. I'll show you what it's like. It is really complicated, so many flipping names. So tip number 1, be mentally prepared to take notes. Don't stress out having a perfect memory. Just write things down. Names, places, character relationships, personality traits, and it helps so much with understanding the story. Tip number 2, write down the vocabularies that appear often. For example, in Marriage Portrait, which is a romance thriller set in Renaissance Italy. And there are so many words like chamber, corridor, and loggia. I don't even know what loggia means. It turns out it's an Italian word and it's architecture term. So I just wrote it down. And same with Iron Flame. The word cadet appears everywhere. And in the waiting years, the word concubine is repeated constantly. So if you see a word appears more than 3 times, just write it down and you remember it. Tip number 3, read the table of contents if there is one. It may not tell you the whole story, but it gives you hints. In the Alice Adventure in Wonderland, here are some of the titles. Chapter number 1, Down the Rabbit Hole. Number 2, The Pool of Tears. Number 3, The Caucus Race in a Long Tail. And number 4, The Rabbit Stands in a Little Bill. 5, Advice from a Caterpillar. 6, Pig and Pepper. 7, A Mad Tea Party. See, now you know what to focus on and what's coming next. You have your expectation and anticipation from the table of contents. Tip number 4, just skip the scenery if you want to. Some writers just love to spend paragraphs and paragraphs describing landscapes, settings, and scenery. It helps to set the mood, but if you think it's really boring, just skip it. Not taking the English test. It's not multiple choices, If it doesn't help you with understanding story, just move on. For example, in the novel Wife, FYI, not a big fan. On page 13, let me read it for you. It was well after 8 already. She'd taken a long tube and a bus, consulted the driver, but still had to walk miles. Closed shops, offices, mansion blocks, the pavements were empty. Even the terraces were so different from the home. Sour brick iced by pigeons, corroded by Buddleia. I don't even know what it's that. I think it's a plant. Rotting ironwork, centuries of fumes and private grief. I mean, I'm just so bored reading that. I completely skipped it. Tip number 5, pay attention to the character's thoughts. Internal monologue can be just as important as the dialogue. Let's just take Yellowface, ta-da, as an example. All these internal monologue helps me to put myself into June's shoes. I see the whole thing from a personal angle. I sort of like take things personally. Tip number 6, watch for the first person shifts. Many novels just like to switch perspectives chapter by chapter. Let's take Sexying the Cherry as example. So for this novel, it switches between the mother, the sailor boy and his mother. At one chapter, it was his mother's perspective, but the next chapter switches to the boy. Switching perspectives can be a very common way in a fictional novel, and it can be confusing at the first time, but once you catch on, you will understand it. And tip number 7, which is the last one, don't push yourself too hard. If your only goal of reading English books is to learn, you might miss the joy of reading. If I focus too much on the words, the vocabularies, the grammar, instead of the plots, the storylines, the characters, the moral of the story, I might lose the fun. Always remember, reading should be like a recreation, not a homework. And these are the 7 tips about reading English original books happily, not necessarily properly, but definitely happily. Let me know in the comments what English books you're reading and if you have any tips of your own. And thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.